Today with Pastor Jay. I'm recording for my show that's going to be airing this week, and I have Eric Josey. So excited to have him there. So we're going to start in just one moment. I wanted to pull up that flyer when I get to it, when I talk about it, Eric. So thanks so much for joining us. I mean, you and I are, I'll talk about it during the show. Let me go ahead and get going.
Okay.
All right. Good morning. Wake up. Good morning. You are listening to Today with Pastor Jay, and I am your host, Pastor Geraldine Denny. Every week, we bring you conversations that educate, encourage, and equip you to navigate life through both wisdom and biblical truth. So today, we're discussing a topic that affects every American, but one that has a unique impact on the Black community for generations. What are your rights when interacting with law enforcement? What responsibilities do citizens have? How do we reduce unnecessary conflict while still protecting constitutional rights? Well, my guest has lived this conversation from multiple perspectives. Eric Josey is a former New York City police officer, a former deputy with the Flagler County Sheriff's Office, and today he serves as a legal rights educator and consultant, advocating and helping people understand the law before they ever find themselves in a difficult situation. So Eric, welcome to Today with Pastor Jay.
Oh, thank you, Gerald, and it's so good to see you. You almost forgot that I was first vice president of NAACP, and that's how we met.
Yes,
That's
you
how we
are
met. That's how
absolutely
we met on the
correct.
ground. That's how we met on the ground
Yes,
here. So
you are
after my years
absolutely
in law
correct.
enforcement, I transitioned to the Flagler County NAACP, and that's how we met. We met during doing certain advocacy for our students in school. And here we are today, years later. It's so good to see you, Geraldine.
It's so good to see you, and I'm so excited. That is absolutely how we met. And then you were head of legal redress for the NAACP for a
That's
while.
correct.
And I come to you many times about things that have happened in our community. And what I love about our relationship is that you sit on the Democrat side, I sit on the Republican side, but you and I have a common goal and shared interests. When it comes to the Black and Brown community, when it comes to the disadvantaged, when it comes to people that may be in minority situations, whether it's in school, whether it's on their job or in their community, and they feel like they are marginalized, you and I share the same goal in making sure everyone's rights are protected, that everyone get a fair shot, and that everyone is heard. So I want to thank you for that. And more people need to do that, right? In fact, we probably spent 30 minutes before we even started taping this show talking about our differences, but
Yeah.
ending them on the right note. You won the badge in one of the busiest cities in America.
Right.
And later you served right here in Flagler County. That gives you a
Right.
perspective few people have. Tell us about your journey into law enforcement.
Well, a lot of people don't know, and you haven't referenced, and I don't think you recall we had this discussion. I'm
Mhm.
co-founder of 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement Who Care out of New York City. So while in law enforcement, I began my journey in community advocacy, along with a host of strong Black men in law enforcement. It's a Black law enforcement group, and we serve the community well. So we did everything from standing on picket lines with public servants like the nursing organization, the teachers organization, standing with our community, in many cases against the police and protecting from the police. So
As a
I have a
police
long range,
officer, that's
right,
that's
right,
impressive.
right. And that was even before coming to Florida. So my first stop in Florida, in addition to becoming a deputy here in Florida, I was at the time, practically when I became a deputy, I was like the first vice president NAACP, and I have a huge heart for our community. Okay, so
Mm.
that's where I am, and what's leading us here today is, frankly, is because our heart is in pain because we've seen so many of our community members with the interaction of law enforcement either losing their life or talking themselves into jail, simply because they simply don't know their rights. And so that's what this is all about. Our program, we have a forum that's coming up. I'm sure you're going to be talking about very soon.
What's the differences did you notice policing in New York compared to serving here in Florida?
Oh, it's a vast difference. I mean, it's NYPD during the period of early '90s. Before I was NYPD, I served like 5 years in New York City EMS. You're talking about high pace every day. I've been through the Washington Heights riots. I'm a survivor, most recently from 9/11. I was there before the second building fell. I mean, so it's just policing is just vastly different. But as far as our community, listen, and it's the same when it comes to that. It's the need in our community, and there's always been resistance with the hostility between the police and our community. So I've always been an advocate for our community because I am from the community. I was born in Brooklyn, raised in the Bronx, and worked in Harlem. So if anybody
Oh,
knows about
wow.
that, that upbringing, that gives me a new perspective of being in our community and actually going through the ranks in law enforcement in different services.
What do you think most citizens misunderstand about police officers?
Well, listen, rightfully so. What they see, it's not a misunderstanding. I mean, it's basically what you see on TV. What do you see on TV? Unfortunately, we see a lot of people in our community that has been unalived by police. Uh, you see, as of recently, ICE officers taking lives, and not just Black lives. I mean, a host of just flat out murders. I can honestly say because this is what we see on TV. So, but I think the misunderstanding is like everybody's the same, regardless of what race they are, who they are. Don't trust any of them. And is that a legitimate feeling? Absolutely. But I'm here to discuss your rights and knowing your rights and being in a better place when you are confronted by the police. Because the bottom line is, you know, um, being pulled over by police is a natural course of business sometimes, and how you handle yourself is what makes a difference in the outcome.
When discussing policing matters in America, we got to look at the facts. According to FBI crime data and the Bureau of Justice Statistic reports, Black Americans make up roughly 13 to 14% of the U.S. population, but they account disproportionately higher percentage of arrests for certain violent crimes, while arrest rates are for many other offenses are closer across racial groups. There have been reports that Black drivers are stopped by police at rates generally similar to or slightly higher than white drivers, depending on the study and the location. But Black individuals report being searched or subjected to force more frequently during those encounters. And statistics never tell the whole story. They help identify trends, but every encounter involves individual people, individual decisions and unique circumstances. So, Eric, how can we responsibly talk about these numbers without allowing them to create fear or division?
What we get ready to engage in is knowing your rights. See, not many people that in my position is willing to do so. And when being part of law enforcement, retired from law enforcement, and even discussing what our rights are. I think that's a big, strong part. Once after this forum and when people begin to feel comfortable in knowing their rights and how to respond when getting pulled over by a police officer, that makes a vast, enormous difference that we have seen. As I explained, this is not my first rodeo. We went through our program that I'm getting ready to present to the Bunnell community. We've been doing for years in high schools, in colleges, what to do by a stop out of the police and know your rights. I mean, so a lot of people simply do not know their rights. That's why our program that I'm getting ready to present has been enormously successful. Okay, and the beginning stage is education and building relations and rapport with the law enforcement. You got to remember, law enforcement are born and raised from our communities, okay? And they're a product of our communities. And is there racism in our communities? Absolutely. So, these are the waters that we have to wade through, in order for at least our survival, particularly when it comes to car stops and police encounters.
All right. Well, guys, stay with us. When we return, we'll discuss what every citizen should know before interacting with law enforcement and how simple decisions can change the outcome of an encounter. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. All right, Eric, we're going to come back in.
Okay.
All right. One of the greatest fears many parents, All right, Mark, I messed up there. Welcome back. Welcome back to Today with Pastor Jay. One of the greatest fears many parents have, especially Black parents, is teaching their children how to safely interact with police officers. So, walk us through a typical traffic stop. And I'm going to tell you, Eric, we call it the talk. You know, in the Black communities and Black home, we call it the talk. Have you had the talk? And everybody think
Sure.
it's something else. No, if you have a Black son, you always have this conversation with him. What do you do if you're stopped by the police officers? So let's talk about a typical traffic stop. What should someone do immediately?
Okay, and then I'm glad you raised that because that is one of the most common contacts that to date I have seen is car stops, unfortunately. So
Hmm.
when you're dealing with a car stop, the first thing really, I gotta be honest with you, is to have your license, insurance, and registration. That's the only way it's really going to work.
Right.
Plan on having it. Now, it's not a major crime if you don't have your license. It's not worth running from the police. It's not worth
Hmm.
killing other people and driving recklessly because you don't have a license. And it's that fear, is lack of knowledge. And I'm going to be discussing that in this forum. So, based to your question, what to do when stopped by the police? Have a valid license, insurance, and registration. So when you pulled over by the police, that gives you a certain comfort, in your soul. Listen, I'm driving.
Hmm.
There's no drugs in this car. There's nothing I'm not supposed to be doing. I have a license, insurance, and registration. So that's the first step. What next is what you say and what you do. And you heard this phrase called say less. I see
Hmm.
it popular amongst our kids. Say less. And that is what you do when a car stop. Sir, if they accuse you of a violation, if you're accused of a certain violation and you to your knowledge, you're unaware of it, just say, listen, I'm unaware of that. I'm unaware of why I'm being pulled over, but here's my license, insurance, and registration. Okay.
Hmm.
Can I search your vehicle? I don't consent to searches, officer. No disrespect, but I don't consent to searches.
So you
Okay.
can say that. So when does
Oh,
someone
absolutely.
have the right
Yeah.
to remain silent?
Right.
And and should someone argue or ever argue under constitutional law during a traffic stop?
Right. I want to be very clear. The officers in that moment, in that interaction, are not your friend. So, and I noticed that, and we've all been trained to sometimes to befriend the pastors, meaning that, hey, how's your day? Where you're heading? Where you're coming from? These are not just general questions. They're looking to see how you react, if you're being if you're giving some sort of deception, if you're afraid. Don't answer questions.
So
Present
we
your
think
license.
we think they're being nice, but they're trying to get some information.
Absolutely. And absolutely. And peripherally, you think that is the case. Oh, okay. I'm not having nothing to hide. Yeah, I'm going to Jackson, Mississippi. I'm on my way back. It doesn't matter. Say less. Present your license, your insurance, and registration, and you don't consent to searches, and you don't engage in conversation. That is basic, fundamental when it comes to a car stop, and that would divert a lot. Okay. And I also recommend if you're traveling distance, and this is what I do. I'm saying this because I'm just making this up for my years of service. I'm telling you, this is what I do. If I'm traveling, especially from state to state, I'm driving a long distance, I take out my
Hmm.
license, my registration, insurance, and I put it in my visor. So I'm not reaching all over the place in the car and
Mm.
giving a cause or a reason for this officer to be nervous. Okay. So that's when it
Yeah,
just comes to a car
we've
stop.
seen people get shot because they reached to get a insurance card, or they
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or you're reaching
which
under
is
your
ridiculous.
or you're reaching
Hmm.
under your rear end to get your driver's license for men anyway. You're reaching under your rear end to pull out your wallet to get your license. And the hand disappears. Listen, there's a lot of rookies out there. There's a lot of afraid officers out there. Okay. And I'm just going to I'm ready to put my years of experience on the table. That's what we have done as law enforcement, as Black law enforcement, is to describe exactly what now the outcome. The whole goal is to survive the car stop, to survive the moment. And what we're
Mm.
teaching is how to do exactly that. Okay. Now, also, I want to say this is that when it comes to saying less, that also comes to police interrogation. You don't give interrogation, you don't consent to an interrogation, you ask for a lawyer. Okay.
Mm.
You say, I can't tell you how many people
Say less.
over the years I have experienced that literally talk themselves into jail for
Wow.
crimes they
Let
didn't
me
even
let,
commit.
they
Right.
crimes they didn't commit, but they
Right.
thought they were friendly, kept talking. Now,
Right.
let's talk about social media and some of the common social media information. And I've seen these videos, everybody's seen them popped up, where there's a traffic stop and someone rolls the window down this much and they put their driver's license up against the window, or they have a note that says, I have nothing to say. Here's my driver's license, my insurance. Can you do stuff like that? Or does that create a hostile environment?
Well, first of all, can you do it lawfully? Can you do it? Yes. Is it
Hmm.
wise to do it? No. Okay. No, I
Okay.
don't recommend doing that at all. Okay. I mean, you have to present your license, and that's giving the license, or your license is not yours, number one. People think the driver's license in your pocket belongs to you. It doesn't. It belongs to DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles, the prospective state. Okay. That's why if the license is ever returned, it doesn't go back to your address. It goes to the Department of Motor Vehicles. That's who it belongs to. It go it goes to the police. Okay. So what I recommend doing, and this is what I always do, I roll down the window. Maybe sometimes not all the way, maybe halfway, but a reasonable way to have engaged the officer in a conversation. He's engaging you and he's telling you what you're being pulled over for. It should be a traditional, normal transaction. Officer, you pulling me over for a brake light. I was on the way, my brake light is out, but here's my license, insurance, and registration. Period. They want to engage in
Mm.
conversation while you're doing that. Don't engage in conversation. No disrespect, officer. That I don't wish to speak. I don't consent to searches. If they ask you to search your car, period. That's all within your lawful means. Okay. Now, people may say, "Well, aren't you going to get the officer upset?" Listen, he may feel a certain way about it, but at the end of the day, you're protecting your rights. Okay. All right. So,
So
yeah.
right. So what does someone, if someone believes their rights were violated, what should they do after the encounter?
Wait till the encounter is over. Make note of the officer's shield and badge number because it's going to be on the summons if you get it. Okay.
Hmm.
Make sure if you could recognize the number on his car or anything of the sort. One thing I'm going to tell you, and there should be no excuse at this point in stage because that you can't afford this. I strongly recommend to have a dash cam. So there's no confusion about misunderstanding about what transpired. Way more on sneakers than a dash cam. Okay. Dash cam is important. It documents everything that's going on. And if the officer does not have a body worn camera, you have something to protect yourself.
Now, do you have to inform the officer, I'm recording this traffic stop on my dash camera?
Absolutely not. You're in a public space. Okay.
Ooh,
Just like
okay.
you're being recorded, he has the right to
Hmm.
record you. Record the officer wearing body worn cameras is in a public space. In turn, you have a right to have a dash cam and record the contents of the car stop. Everything that's going on at the car stop.
You've
Absolutely.
worked on both sides. How can officers and communities rebuild trust? Because it's sounding like it's almost as though they're out to get you. I mean, they're coming to the car for whether a basic traffic stop. This is what you're thinking, but from what I'm hearing, it's almost though the officer is coming and he's going to take this opportunity to interrogate you because you could be a potential thief or crime, criminal or something, or maybe you commit a crime you didn't know, or maybe you're gonna put a crime on you. We got to. How do we rebuild trust in our communities, and what can officers do?
Well, it's a balance on the community and the police agencies, right? So I have noticed more as years go on that police agencies are engaging in community interaction and community fairs. Okay, and it's also it's out incumbent upon us as community members to participate in community meetings. Be familiar with the police department, the police officers that work in your community. When they see you, you're more likely to be heard. Okay, when you show up to community meetings. So the first step is showing up to community meetings, particularly when law enforcement is there, and expressing yourself if you wish to do so in a calm and reasonable manner. So that is a beginning step, and hopefully, this forum is a beginning step in an untraditional way where you're actually here for law enforcement, how you protect yourself as far as knowing your rights and what you do when stopped by the police. And it just doesn't extend to car stops or police encounters. It also goes to the schools. We have law enforcement in our schools,
Mm.
so what do you do, when a deputy or police officer in the school and he's asking you questions? What are your rights? What do you say? What is your rights as a parent? What is your rights as a student? We're going to be covering all of that.
All those
And
things.
so I'm excited about that. Yes.
All right, guys. Well, Proverbs 15:1 says, "A gentle answer turns away wrath." And there are situations where tensions escalate beyond anyone's control. And you may have been in that situation, but we're going to take another break. Don't forget, you can hear every episode of Today with Pastor Jay wherever you listen to podcasts, on social media, and we will be right back. Okay. All right. Let's see how much time I've got. I got a few minutes. Now we
I'm
specifically
good.
going to talk about the event that's coming up. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah.
All right.
So how
Welcome
we
back.
doing?
Welcome. Oh, go ahead. How we
No, I'm
doing? We
sorry.
probably got maybe 4 minutes.
Okay,
Two
good,
to
good.
3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Welcome back. Welcome back to Today with Pastor Jay. Our nation has experienced painful moments involving law enforcement and communities of color. And those events have left lasting wounds. Yet most officers serve honorably every day, and most citizens simply want to just go home safely. So how do we move forward? And those are the answers that Eric has today. You have an event that's coming up. Let's talk about that event.
Yes. I'm excited about it. It's a forum. It's going to take place in the Bunnell community at the Carver Washington Center. Basically, we're going to discuss knowing your rights. That is the title of the event, Knowing Your Rights. What are your rights when it comes to being stopped by the police? Or what are your rights when you're being interrogated by the police? Okay. And also, what are your rights in school? As
Mm,
I mentioned before, we have law enforcement in school now. What is your rights? What should you do? Okay. What is the ramification of social media these days? How does it follow you for the rest of your life? Does the employer have a right to go through your social media account before they consider hiring you? All of these are very important questions when it comes to knowing your rights, police encounters, social media, things of that
mm,
nature. So, when it comes to IEP students, exceptional student education students in school, they have enormous protections when it comes to state and federal laws. Okay,
wow.
we just don't know unfortunately, how to engage those laws. Okay, and unfortunately, we sometimes find ourselves in jail before we know it, or in prison before we know it. Okay, and it's unfortunate. So this is going to be an educational forum. We're going to do some role playing in regards to car stops.
Oh
And it
my
works out
gosh.
so very. It's I'm telling you, it's enormous impact on the community when you feel emboldened when you do know your rights under the law. Okay, and I'm also going to give certain techniques, as I expressed before, having a camera, a small camera in your car, protecting yourself. And when you emboldened by your rights, and this man is being recorded, you're less anxious
Right.
when you get pulled over, because it is an anxious moment when you see those huge, enormous bright lights coming down and descending upon you, and knowing the history of the relationship between the Black community and law enforcement. I'm looking to
Mm,
ease that anxiety. And so that's what this forum is all about. So I'm looking forward to a big turnout in the community. I guarantee at least 30 minutes of question and answer period at the end.
hmm
And I will stay at the end if anybody wishes to talk about what we discuss any further. So we're really looking forward to that. So
It
it's
was
August
coming up on
13th.
August
Yeah, guys,
16th.
please go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, it's August 16th at 3 p.m. at the
Oh,
George Washington Carver Center.
yes.
Unless you change the date. Is it 16th?
No, I'm sorry. Yes, it's August 16th. You have it absolutely right. I just looked it over. I
Okay.
knew I had a 3 because it's at 3 p.m. That's what was in my
At
mind. So,
3 p.m. And that's
right.
coming up soon, guys. And we're looking forward to the information that you're going to give and you're going to present, and the role playing part. That's going to be very important for Know Your Rights Forum. So, Eric, I just want to thank you. If there's one last thought that you can
I just want to say
maybe
this.
speak.
Yeah, I just want to say
Yeah.
this. I want to thank Bishop King for organizing this event. He's enormous in our community. He's the one that organizing this event. I have a great relationship with you as yourself. You're a pastor, Bishop King, and many pastors in this community. And that is the beginning of us organizing, coordinating these kind of events. So in this particular event, Bishop King, my heart goes out to him because he really went above and beyond the call of duty to put this event together.
All right, guys. So that's August the 16th, 3 p.m. Make sure you be there or be square. And if you have any questions prior to then, is there a way that they can contact you, Eric?
Yes. I'm going to give you my email address, Premier Consulting, premier.consulting173 at AOL.com. I'll say it again. Premier, common spelling, dot. Don't forget the dot. A lot of people miss out the dot, then they never receive it. .consulting173 at AOL.com.
All right. Well, Romans 13 reminds us that government has an important role in maintaining order. But at the same time, scripture repeatedly calls leaders to administer justice fairly and without partiality. Justice without mercy become harsh. Mercy without justice become chaos. God calls us to pursue both. An informed citizen is better equipped to protect both their rights and their relationships. Knowledge is powerful, but wisdom is what teaches us how to apply it. So, Eric Josey, thank you for joining us today and for
Thank
helping
you.
educate our listeners on a topic that affects families across America. Conversations like this doesn't erase history, but they can build understanding. And when citizens know their rights, understand their responsibilities, and approach one another with respect, community becomes stronger and safer. To our listeners, I encourage you to educate yourself before you ever face a difficult situation. Knowledge reduces fear, preparation builds confidence, and wisdom can save lives. All right, guys, you know what I say? Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow isn't promised. What are you going to do today? Today, you're going to know your rights. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. August 16th, 3 p.m., Carver Center. All right. There we go. That's super
All
cool.
right.
Yeah, I
Wonderful.
try not to have I gotcha moments. You said something about what we see on TV. I was about to say, Eric, you believe everything you see on TV?
Hey, listen, I'm not the only
I
one.
said, I was like, there's so much on
But
TV. I don't even watch it. It's so
yeah.
stressful. All right,
Oh
God
my
bless you.
goodness
I'm
gracious.
so excited about this. This is part of the program that I was telling you about that I want the safety and justice track of my IM 13914. This is an element, a part of that. So thank you so very much for sharing
Wonderful.
with. Yeah,
Hope you
we
share with me
discussed.
what your
Yeah, we
listeners think
discussed it.
about.
Of
I hope
course.
you share with me what your listeners think. I'm not sure. This is on your social media, so I wonder what they think. And
It is.
the
I've already had
I always
someone
get your
just
feedback.
comment great. Yeah, I've already had someone comment great. So this is gonna be good. So thank you. God bless you. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you,
day.
Pastor Jay.
All
Thank you
right.
for the work that you
All right.
do.
Love you.
I'm
No,
telling
thank
you.
you for the work that you do. I mean, let me tell you,
Yeah.
people don't know this. We're a dynamite duo.
You're not kidding. On both sides of the political
Um,
spectrum.
and when we get together, we give them heck, don't we?
Yeah, boy. They just don't understand it. They just can't figure it out.
They can't figure it out. When it comes to our
Uh,
community, we are so passionate about protecting them. I want to thank you. We're still live right now, but I want to
oh,
just thank you for
thank
all
you.
the work that you have done for our community on your own dime, on your own time. Even when it didn't seem like you were successful, you kept at it, and represented us oftentimes, most times by yourself. So thank you so very much.
Thank you so
All
much,
right.
Pastor
God
Jay.
bless you.
Good seeing you. God
All
bless.
right. All right. You take care. Bye.